Unlock the door, bitch. I'm on my way, and I got chicken strips.
I don't know why they call them chasers. It's not like Chubs can run real fast.
Double vodka with hot brownie chasers.
She just wanted to watch me eat it. Naked.
I can't say that. That's dirty.
Chasers will do anything to get into your pants. I love them.
Stop it! Stop!
Oh, God.
Chubs Gone Wild.
Hey there, welcome to Chubs Gone Wild, episode 544, recorded on May 27th, 2024. Happy Memorial Day. Well, we just had a discussion about that. Reflective Memorial Day.
There you go. That's good.
It is Memorial Day.
No, you could just say, we should do this. Happy beginning of summer pool party day and reflective Memorial Day.
There we go. That works. That works really well. It is 87 degrees and sunny outside the Chubs Gone Wild remote studios, where it is 157 days till Halloween and 212 until Christmas. I feel a good witch binge coming on. It is quick reminder about Patreon. Patreon offers folks a way to support creators like us and receive rewards not open to the general public, like my Life in Fragments podcast, books, videos, and more. And we want to thank our current patrons: Clint, Nephi, Nick, DJ Sausage from the Universe, Eric, Sean, Charles, Phoenix Dave, Brother Sinatus, Kingsley, Kathy Bacon, and Moose Pete. Please visit patreon.com/Matt Burlingame to find out how you can become a supporter of the show for as little as $1 a month. And please join me in today's affirmation. I let the light of my love shine so brightly that it brings comfort to everyone who needs it. Yeah, we'll go with that. All right. Well, let's talk history. This was a very important day in history. 1939, a ship carrying hundreds of Jewish refugees fleeing Nazi Germany is turned away from America. Was turned away in Cuba. Okay, so that must be the Cuban one, but there was another one that came like to mainland USA, and they said no, go away.
That was probably yesterday.
Could be.
They tried. It was Florida. What were you expecting? Come on.
Oh yeah. But they got sent back, and then they ended up in the concentration camps, and almost everybody on that ship was killed. So atrocities. Also, 1986, African-American inventor Lonnie Anderson, Lonnie, that's a good one. Lonnie Johnson patents the Super Soaker water gun. True American invention. 1897, according to the Daily News of London, the first copies of the classic vampire novel Dracula by English writer Bram Stoker go on sale on May 27th, 1897. Stoker would go on to publish 17 novels in all, but it was his 1897 novel Dracula that eventually earned him literary fame and became known as the masterpiece of Victorian-era Gothic literature, and would spawn many movies and versions and TV shows and make us suffer for many decades and centuries.
That's Bram Stoker, not Bram Stroker. Just, you filthy pig. Okay.
Okay. Let's do some holidays.
Holiday.
Celebrate. Her version of that live on the Blonde Ambition tour is my favorite. All right. Well, today is Cellophane Tape Day. When's the last time you used cellophane tape?
Christmas?
That's what I was gonna say. That's probably what I did too. Memorial Day, well, obviously, and it's also National Grape Popsicle Day. Very specific. I don't, well, no, I'm okay with grape popsicles, but I can't stand grape jelly.
It's purple. I'm not a big purple fan. Like purple drink, ugh.
Gotcha. National Gray Day. Nothing to Fear Day. Old Time Piano Player. And also Sunscreen Protection Day. That would have been good yesterday. All right. And then, of course, we have some birthdays to celebrate. And we're very happy to celebrate the birth of, there we go, Lynn, author Pat Henshaw. We have Curtis, Peter, Nick. Oh, our patron Nick, his birthday is today. Thank you, Nick. Happy birthday. Also, Mike, and there we go. Dan, Matthew, Thomas. Actually, we worked with him at theater a number of times. We have Ian Harvey. Oh, he's of course our transgender friend who was in Will and Grace and so many other amazing shows out there. We also have singer Xavier Toscano, who we just found out is going to be making some Pride appearances across the country. Very fun. We have Nessa. Oh my goodness, it's Nessa. She's going to have so much birthday cake, she can't feel her face. It's going to be great. And also happy birthday to Ronald Rick. Oh my goodness. It's Archer of Archer Radio. He's one of the original podcasters, gay podcasters. We also have Brandon, Rick, Cheryl Trig Mikowski. I'm not going to try to do her voice because, yeah, not good. We'll have to get the free geek for that one. Also to Dale, Philip, Mark, Jeff, lots of people born, Robert, and Daniel. Oh, sweet Daniel. Happy birthday, Daniel. Okay, well, that was nice. We celebrated. It was wonderful. Okay, we do have a little something in our feedback. This comes from Mr. Moose. He said, I'm listening to the podcast now. Tom is talking about experimenting with cheese. Sorry, that sounds dirty. I too did a cheese experiment. Woke up craving a grilled cheese sandwich. So I got 2 thick slices of multigrain bread and I brushed them with butter. Spread a thin layer of cream cheese next. Top that with a layer of Gouda and then another layer of Munster. Grilled the whole thing on low heat until the outside was golden brown and the inside was completely melted. One of the best grilled cheese sandwiches I've ever had. Sorry, didn't take a picture. Was too busy eating. Oh.
Oh boy, I can tell you right now, my insides are going from all that cheese.
Yeah.
Just the thought of all that cheese.
Yeah, that's a lot, but I would be willing to.
Oh, I would too, and I'd pay for it later. But you know, it's one of those things you do. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's me and tacos. Anyway, let's see. Okay, Chub Hug.
Oh, before that, I heard Carla Hall yesterday. She was saying if you don't have, if you only have like what is it, shredded cheese, and you don't have like cheese, regular cheese patty. Well, what do you call them? Strips.
Slices. Yeah.
Slices. Yes. Okay. She said, put down some of the grated cheese on the pan, and when it's warm. And then when the cheese starts to melt, you take your bun and smear it all over and around and lift it up. And there was cheese on the top of the, on the top bun.
Right.
And it was like, that's really a clever idea.
It is.
It melts it, and it gives it that, it also gives it that that kind of a little bit of different texture to the cheese too. So yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting. Okay.
No, that's a great idea. I like when there's like a crispy, like kind of outside to it.
Yeah.
But we had a local restaurant here that used to do that. Like they would
They
put so
still do.
much cheese in. It just I tried it once and it just didn't do anything for me. I don't
Oh,
know.
it was so greasy,
Mm,
and it's called a cheese skirt,
yeah.
and they're still open
Oh, they
downtown.
are okay.
Yeah, yeah, because they had to move because of the
88.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So but it was a bit, they just put on too much cheese. It would all melt off into this cheese skirt, and then you'd have to
Yeah.
eat through the cheese skirt before you could get to any burger, and your hands were so greasy from the
Yes.
oil off the cheese. And then it just curdled my stomach because I really, like when people go, hey, let's have fondue, and I'm going, no.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
I
too
can
much,
see
too
if
much
you
for
don't
me.
like cheese, fondue is no. I love the idea of fondue, but I have not had it since literally I was a little kid in the 70s. And of course, somebody got a fondue pot as a present, and we tried it once, and that was it. Never again.
Yeah, I mean, my parents like, well, they could eat cheese, they could process cheese, so milk products. So that it was to me when even, and then of course they go, but look, you can also melt chocolate up and dip fruit into it, and I'm like, I don't want my chocolate. I'm not a big chocolate fan. Do we have?
Mm.
And now, of course, they didn't have white chocolate really
Oh,
prevalent in that time period. Then we could have talked. That might have been fun, but yeah.
yeah, that definitely would have been fun. Although wasting chocolate on fruit. Ugh, I don't like chocolate strawberries either. I don't know. Fruit in my food. I like fruit separately, but in my food, eh.
Yeah, Brian's the same way.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting. Huh.
yeah.
Okay, so Chub Hugs. We want to start out with sending some huge Chub Hugs out to Nephi for the passing of his pup Trevor, which actually happened last week right after the big Houston storm. And there was a lot of damage that his place took from that too. So he was really going through a rough spot. So, and then of course we want to also send love out to Toppy Smelly, whose father passed away last week, and he finally made it public, and then did a really sweet show about it. So I would encourage everyone to listen to that over at thesmellcast.com. So, how about you? I mean, those are from both of us, of course, but
Right. Well, and just to reference what we were talking about at the top of the show, which was, this being Veterans, Memorial Day. And
Mhm.
Memorial Day is remembering those who died in battle.
Right.
So and yeah, so just at least take a moment today and be thinking about something besides hot dogs and sunscreen. So even though it is sunscreen day, so
That's true.
yeah.
We can think about it all. All right. Well, how about some celebrity deaths? There's actually been a few over this past week or so. Starting with Doug Ingle, the Iron Butterfly founder, who died at 78. He was the last surviving original member of the band, known for their 1968 hit Inagata de Vida. And then Grayson Murray, a PGA Tour golfer, died after withdrawing from the Charles Schwab Challenge due to an undisclosed illness.
On the Iron Butterfly thing,
Mhm.
in Agata Davida. Now, I don't know if it's true, but the rumor is that when they first started singing, or when they first did the song in concert, they or someone they were really the band was really high, and so was the audience, and so it was supposed to be in the Garden of Eden.
Oh, okay.
Is what that's what I was told. That was the rumor was, but he was going, and so everyone went Inagata Davida. what is that? You know, and they just, I think they kind of went with it. But then wouldn't they have recorded that ahead of time on an
That's kind of
album
what I
before?
was thinking too, but
But yeah, I don't know.
no.
You know, in those days, you know, concerts were much different than they are now. You know,
Mhm.
you had pop-up concerts, I'm sure, all the time, or you know, you're gonna go sing in a fucking club of, you know, with 100 seats in it. And so maybe that's how it happened, if that's a true story at all. But I always thought that was a really funny story.
Yeah, no, it's pretty that would be a great like if it were real, that would be
Yeah.
um okay, so Grayson Murray, we I didn't say how old he was, but I'm pretty sure he was actually pretty young. He may have been in his 30s. Morgan Spurlock, the Super Size Me director, died at the age of 53 after battling cancer. And you know, he put out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, he kind of, you know, went for it afterwards.
Uh,
Actually, it was funny because I was talking to Brian about this, and he said that you know, a lot came out about Morgan because after the Supersize Me, the fact that not only did he eat a lot of McDonald's, but he was also a raging alcoholic.
mm,
Um, and then I think he was, at one point he got in trouble. There was more trouble, and it always makes me think, how far does McDonald's play in all this? Because, you know, he hurt them. He hurt them with
yeah,
that thing, you know. So I don't know. So it's always interesting. But and then, you know, everyone loves to bring up all the black marks, you know, that you know, that kind of stuff. So
yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Um,
sorry.
no, that's great. Had an issue with him, I think, during that time period, but eh, you know,
But he was cute.
yes. Well, I wasn't gonna say it, but since you did, yes, I did think he was very cute, actually.
And
Uh,
it's not because he had a mouthful of French fries either.
oh no, but that didn't hurt.
No, never
Uh,
does.
Charlie Collin, the former Train bassist, was found dead from after falling in the shower. He was 58. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, John Wysocki, who was a drummer, okay, and founding member of the band Stained, died at 56. Johnny Wachter, we'll go with Wachter. An actor best known for playing Brandon Corbin in on General Hospital, was shot and killed in Los Angeles on May 25th when three men attempted to steal the catalytic converter from his car. He was 37.
Yeah, I was reading that today. The weird thing about that is it reminds me of when Sal Mineo was killed in Los
Yeah,
Angeles. He was in the garage of his apartment complex, and that's the first thing that popped in my mind when I read that today, because that's a little young to be, you know, shot and killed when somebody's trying to steal your fucking catalytic.
at that point, I would have called the police, but just let them do it. I wouldn't have
Yeah,
rushed up there and yeah. Uh,
I would have hit my alarm on my car that set
that's
that off,
true.
and that would have sent them, you know, running out. But maybe he was a butch kind of guy.
Well, he definitely he was very attractive and he looks like the butch kind of guy, you know.
Hmm.
So, all right. Richard M. Sherman, who worked with his late brother to pen such tunes as A Spoonful of Sugar, Supercalifragilistic. Now I can do
Just
that.
skip it.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and it's a small world after all. Died from a related age-related illness. He was 95.
But and with him now, he basically wrote, with his brother Robert, wrote everything that came out of Disney up until Alan Menken and Howard Ashman came over and did Little Mermaid. Up till
Mhm.
then, they were pretty much it. And then they
Wow.
did venture out. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was
Mhm.
one of theirs as well. But yeah, I mean, hundreds of songs and generations of kids, Disney kids or kids who watch Disney,
Mhm.
you know, knew his music. And he did win the Oscar for Chim Chim Cheree.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting that that was the song that got the
Yeah.
nomination from Mary Poppins. So
Yeah. Um, there was a lot of good music in Mary Poppins, but there was also a lot of good music in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's just I didn't as a kid I loved it, but when I got older and we watched it, it's like I don't know.
well, I mean, some shows are meant for kids.
Right,
It's just
exactly.
because Mary Poppins for me is just not what it was when I was a kid.
Oh
It
yeah.
just doesn't have the same charm.
They lost me at the animated part. I like the rest of it okay, but the animated stuff, no.
Well, I keep thinking to myself, even back because I saw it when it first came out because that's how old I am. Um, that 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 they would try to make a children's movie that was that long.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like between 2.5 and 3 hours long. It's a long ass movie.
Right.
And then it was funny because the same year they brought out My Fair Lady, which was with another long ass movie, and I'm thinking this is 1964. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I guess they
Yeah,
wanted people to think they were really getting a bang for their buck,
I
or
guess.
5 cents or whatever it was then.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's see. Daryl Hickman, a child star of Hollywood's golden age, died May 22nd at 92. Richard Florenjoy, the character actor known for playing tough guy roles, died at 86. Fred Roos, a casting director and producer who collaborated frequently with Francis Ford Coppola, died at 89. Tony McFarr, stunt actor who did stunt doubles for actors like Chris Pratt and John Hamm, died at the age of 47. And Bill Walton, the Basketball Hall of Fame center, who won record 88 straight games at UCLA, won 2 NBA championships, and later put the color in color commentator, died today following a battle of cancer. He was 71.
I would have thought he was much older,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
I'm,
I didn't
I'm
know much about him, but I knew, like his commentator stuff. Okay, so the Bratz in celebrity news. The Bratz film looks at the 80s Brat Pack, which consisted of Demi Moore, Rob Lowe, Emilio Estevez, Ali Sheedy, and others. And the stars will reunite to chat about what it was like to live in such an adored and chaotic celebrity bubble at the time. It will stream starting June 13th on Hulu, and it's actually one I'm looking forward to seeing. Uh, and then we have Florida star, football player, I believe, Harrison Butker, has said he stands by every word in his controversial commencement speech. Earlier this month, the Kansas City Chiefs kicker told students at the college that he was talking at in Kansas that he believed Pride Month to be sinful and insisted that most of the female graduates would be happiest as wives and mothers. It, if it wasn't clear that the timeless Catholic values are hated by many, it is now. As to be expected, the more I've talked about what I value most, which is my Catholic faith, the more polarizing I've become. Oh, it just sees what an asshole you are, because a lot of the things that he's touting aren't Catholic values, actually.
Well, it was interesting. I heard today there's a politician from Texas who I don't know where he was at, but he was filmed saying, we sit here and talk about pro-life, yet when women get an abortion, they're not put in jail for homicide. When's that going to happen? Because I mean, if we're going to carry it through, I mean, wouldn't that be the right way to go through? And then he said something else that it was ridiculous. But I'm like, great, an election year, and you're telling people that you're going to throw women in jail for having an abortion. Oh, that's going to go over well. And then some UFC fighter said that he's going to homeschool his son because he doesn't want to send him to public schools because they'll turn him gay.
Yep. Because going to public schools turned me straight.
Yeah.
Well, around all those straight people all my life, I just turned out as straight as they are.
Well, it's just, I think it's funny coming from a sport like, okay, I'm gonna have to shut the door. Fucking mowing their lawns. God damn it! It's a holiday. Yeah. Anyway, the UFC stars, UFC stars are so
Okay.
yeah, the whole thing is just there's men in little tight shorts rubbing on each other and trying to make each other cry, and it's like, okay, this is just too much. Anyway, so is that.
Yeah, it really is ridiculous. I just get so tired of it. And the thing that I actually get the most annoyed at is when the camera's following you. Hello.
And I have pants on, so not to worry.
Okay. Is when they spread this shit now, like Trump and all his people are like, yeah, they have abortions after birth. And it's like, no, they fucking don't. That's called murder, you darling dipshit. Anyway. All right. Now that he's back, Tom wants to talk to you about.
Oh, that's right. I have to change pages.
Okay.
Boop. Okay, there we go. Okay, we are. I'll tell you. Stop putting the new pictures up right before the show. It's just everyone's looking at them. It's so funny. So anyway, let's see. Starting off. Okay, so we think we can dance. Finish this week. Aaron was the winner. I would have gone with Easton, but they went with Aaron. So, let's see. Hacks, which is on Max. Streaming on Max is probably. I'm sure it's on HBO too. But this season, the writing is superior to the past seasons. I mean, and the past seasons were great. Don't get me wrong, but the writing. I mean, yeah, the writing's been just excellent. And so because the writing's so good, everybody's so good. Let's see, RuPaul's Drag Race this week. RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars this week had the Snatch Game of Love. And it was pretty funny because when they're preparing for Drag Race, they know what all the competitions are ahead of time. So they know that they're going to do Snatch Game of Love. And so you pick somebody that you're going to be, and then you come to the thing. Turns out 2 people did Liberace.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's so funny because Nina West goes, I'm doing Liberace because no one else ever has. And then Chanel turns around and goes, you got to be kidding me. I'm doing Liberace. And it's like, oh, and the thing is, you can't pivot because you've spent probably, well, anywhere from what you can pull off of from a store or what you had made for you. You could be paying thousands of dollars for that. And so you can't go, okay, if I don't do Liberace, who can I do that I could use the outfit for without it looking ridiculous? So it ended up being a little battle of the Liberaces. And it's funny because Chanel impersonated Liberace, but Nina West just totally went fag out Liberace. So she was funnier. So she was funny. So she won, even though Chanel looked more the part. But with RuPaul, one thing is it doesn't matter how good your costume is. If you don't make RuPaul laugh, you're not going to win.
Right. Yeah.
But my favorite one was but Mick, or what got Mick, which she played Lassie, the actress. So she dressed up, she did her makeup to look like she's a collie, and had like a big, like furry jacket, like a like the old-fashioned robes that women used to have with the big fur collars on them. So it gave her the collie look, and so she was a British dog actress who is bitter and pissed off basically at the way the world has treated her, and it was and see, that's the secret to this. The secret is if you could come up with a person that nobody really knows, you can just go insane with what it's like. Remember, I'd always write a character in all my plays that we never met, so they could be the most bizarre person in the world, and you could get a lot of funny jokes out of just it's just like Norm's wife or Niall's wife in Cheers and Frasier. You can always make jokes about them because you're never going to see them, so it doesn't matter. Niall's wife was so thin she slipped through the heating grate on the floor, that kind of stuff. So, but funny jokes.
The wind blew her away.
Yeah. Fortunately, we had string tied to her because we knew it was windy. Anyway, so let's see. Survivor finished this week, and it was interesting because Charlie and Maria were really good friends. Maria got thrown off, and so, but they were, so Charlie had the votes counted in his head, but Maria voted for the other person.
Oh,
for Kendall, and so basically lost him $1 million. And they were supposed to be like, they were like the best friends on the show. And it was kind of surprising. And he's just been on everywhere bitching about it. So
I bet.
Let's see, Connors. I think it's the season finale, but they're more bad choices from the Connors. And of course this is the last season, which is good. I think it's time. Everyone wants it, hopefully Darlene will die, and then we'll go, oh wait, no, we can keep the show on. We'll just don't lose the hot guy, her husband.
Oh yeah, he is.
Ben stays even if Darlene's dead.
Yeah.
Let's see, Masked Singer. We had the finale this week for that. Vanessa Hudgens was the big winner from High School Musical and other things. Let's see, Top Chef. They sent Sue back to Last Chance Kitchen because he had a bad fish boil, and a fish boil is where you heat up some. You have water, you season the water, you get it boiling, you throw in your fish and your potatoes and your corn, and then you serve it. And his was, I guess, a mess. So they sent him back to Last Chance Kitchen, which I've already seen. He got sent home. So no more Sue. And I liked him, so I was kind of upset. MasterChef Junior finale. Brandon ended up winning. Now, if you were watching or you didn't see all of the Junior MasterChef Junior, Brandon's the one who cried in every episode. He cried if he won. He cried if he didn't win. He cried if he thought he was going to go home. He cried because something wasn't right on his plate. He cried because he burned himself. And then, of course, when he wins the last thing, he's just bawling. So
how old?
Like 11.
Oh, gosh, okay.
He's but he's the little chubby boy, and so I was rooting for him just on that. So yeah, it was. But it's like, oh my God, he's crying again. Yeah. So. And I said that out loud many an episode. Let's see. We're here. The drag queens taking drag to places that don't want it.
Right.
They're in Oklahoma, and one of the people, because they go into towns, and then they find 3 LGBT blah 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 people, and they turn them into drag queens. So one of the people that they were doing was this guy, and so they're going, so tell us, you're transgender now. When did this, when did your journey start? And he goes, well, up until the time that I realized who I was, I had spent 23 years on the protest line outside of drag shows and gay bars and everything. I was the problem for 23 years. And it's just like, I mean, I feel for him, he's his journey right now, but God, these people, they always do it. They always go out, and they're horrible, horrible people. It's the Nancy Reagan syndrome, that until it technically affects me, I'm against it.
Yep.
And so, and that's just when he said that, I was feeling for him, but I was also feeling other things for him as well. He even had pictures of himself protesting, and it was like, oh God, I hate you people. Anyway, Bridgerton was over on Netflix. There's only 4 fucking episodes. Where's the rest? I ask. They don't even have a disclaimer saying, oh, we'll have 4 more episodes, on June 2nd or something. Nothing. At least nothing I saw. But the first episode was getting back established. It's the first time that all the ladies are coming out again this season, and it's so blah blah blah. But then by 2nd, 3rd, and 4th episode, it was like yes. I actually think I watched 2 in one day, and that's a lot for me. Wow. There's a 2nd season of Chow House over on Max or Food Network, and this is Alex Porcelli, and she brings these Americans over to Italy, and there's this Italian chef, dreamy Italian chef, and then they have challenges, Italian food, local challenges, sourcing just what they have there, and it's very not memorable, but he is so cute. So
what show is it?
It's called Chow House.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I saw one the brand new show, Paramount Plus, new South Park just came out. And this one is called South Park: The End of Obesity. Okay. So what happens is they go to Cartman and his mother go to the doctor, and the doctor goes, Mrs. Cartman, your son is very, very obese, and he really needs to lose weight. And Cartman does, you'll recognize, oh, here we go again. How many times have we gone through that, right? Yeah. So but then he says, well, there's a new drug now. He names off the drugs, and he goes, and you take it once a week and you lose weight, and you don't want to eat as much. And he's like, I need that, right? And he goes, well, and his mother goes, well, is the insurance going to cover that? And he goes, well, no, usually it's about $1,200 a month. I mean, a week. Yeah. I think it's, or maybe it's a month, whatever. It's a lot. And she goes, well, we can't afford that. But Eric, when Eric thinks he's going to lose weight, you know what his dream is? His dream is to go and insult everybody he knows, because they're not going to be able to turn around and go, well, you're just a fat ass, Cartman, because that's what they always call him. You're a fat ass. And so his dream is to go and insult everybody, and then they'll go, well, Cartman, you're, and then he laughs and runs off. So so they still keep it South Parkish, but then they basically find out that the insurance people don't want to spend money, so they decide they're going to go to India and get all the ingredients they need to make their own. Oh, well, at the same time in town, all the mothers are taking Ozempic and having Ozempic parties, where one of them goes down to Mexico and gets like a dozen shots, and they all have a party injecting themselves in the stomach with the Ozempic. Gosh. So it's my mom's on that. Oh, good for her.
And it really is that expensive. I think it's like $1,400 a month.
Yeah, with
I mean, hers is covered, mind you, thankfully, but yeah.
Well, but she's not diabetic, because the thing that they say that if you're diabetic, it'll be covered. If you're not diabetic, it won't be.
Well, hers is because one of the doctors back when she was pre-diabetic put on, and so it's a whole thing, but I don't know. She's got it. It's covered.
Okay. Yeah. Saw 3 movies this week. I saw If, which is Imaginary Friends show that's out of theaters right now. Ryan Reynolds. It's a cute little show. I mean, it's sweet. It's funny. It moves well. It's entertaining. I mean, it's not wow, but it was still very entertaining. I really enjoyed it. I saw Madam Web. I don't know if I talked about this last week.
No.
I saw Madam Web on Netflix, and it's just a mess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a mess. It's like, um, uh, yeah, and the villain, what a terrible actor. Terrible
Oh,
actor.
yes, it was horrible. He chewed every bit of scenery that he walked on.
Well,
It was
well,
horrible.
and fortunately, he CGI through most of it.
That's true.
That,
Yeah,
that's the only plus
it
is that he, yeah.
it had so much potential. It really did. And honestly, it was like for just sitting there watching it on a Tuesday with discount, it was like, oh, okay, fine. But yeah, you're right. It really was a mess.
And finally, I saw Aquaman 2. Now, first of all, I hated Aquaman 1. So why would I see Aquaman 2 was because I needed something to watch. Sean was gone for the night. And I didn't want to watch anything that he would want to watch because then I would have to watch it again. So I thought, well, it'll be on in the background. But it was so bad, it was distracting. I could not ignore it because it was so bad. And that if nothing else, I mean, right away they have a title treatment at the very beginning of the show where you're looking at this like an ice wall, like you see crumbling all the time. They show, oh, look how the ice is crumbling off of itself, and it starts crumbling. The earth shakes and it starts crumbling, and it reveals the title treatment of Aquaman 2. And I'm like, okay, right there, I wanted to turn it off. That was it. I could easily and probably should have turned it off, but I didn't. I sat there for God knows how. It was a long movie and ridiculous. And they kept having, it's like, okay, well it's not over yet. Okay. Because I thought that would have been a somewhat good ending, but okay. Oh, we're moving. There's still more. Okay. Now now the baby gets stolen. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. This is never going to end. That's what I kept thinking. It's never going to end. So, other than that, my hand is healing pretty nicely.
Awesome.
I still can't. I'm able to pick up things and carry things, but I can't. I use that hand a lot just to when I get out of a chair.
Yeah.
So now I'm using the other hand to do it, and it's just a little different. So, but other than that, it's pretty good, and the swelling's all gone down. So I'm happy about that. I can see veins on my hand again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, I don't think there's no mutual shows that we're currently watching yet. At some point, I'm going to start the summer baking. I'll have that. For me this week, I've really been focusing on getting my poetry book ready to publish and taking care of side things and doing a lot of stuff for my clients for work. So I haven't had a chance to really do much of, anything, watch wise. But so one of the things that has been going on, so you watched Baby Reindeer. Yes, did you finish it?
Yep.
Yeah. And so you were talking about it, and then I started seeing all sorts of stuff on specifically episode 4. And in episode 4, basically what happens is the main character, who's in his mid-20s, which surprised me because he thought he kind of looked older than that.
He's in his 20s?
Yeah.
I thought he was in his 40s.
He was in his mid-20s. Well, you know what? During part of it, maybe I only watched this one episode because everybody kept going on about how they had to skip the big scene in it, which was supposed to be basically the forced sex scene, because this guy that promised him the world was drugging him and then having sex with him while he was passed out, basically. And then, but how powerful and impacting this stuff the way that he talked about it afterward and the trauma, and that he kept going back, and everything was, and how it's such a powerful scene. But the people were just like, they refused to watch the sex scene because how horrible that should be filmed. But you know, but the stuff after it was so great. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna watch episode 4 and see for myself what's going on. And first off, there wasn't some big scene, which
Yeah.
probably
Right.
was better for the show, because it, it served it better actually.
Right.
But there was no real big scene or anything, but it was creepy. And then they were right that the processing and dialogue and the way that he talked about it afterward and the fallout was powerful. But it was also so, I don't want to watch this series at all if episode 4 and how hopeless it was is representative of the entire thing, which I've been told it is. I don't think I want to watch that series.
Well, that's what I mean. I did see the whole thing, and what really bothered me about it is just, I think first of all they could have done it shorter, in fewer episodes, but you want it to be a limited series. But it was just, I it was creepy stalkers,
Mhm.
and but the guy was the problem. The main character is the problem. It's not, he brought himself, the stalkers, he wanted the stalkers to be there. He went back and back and back and back.
That's
So
kind of what I got just from that one episode.
yeah, and so at the end, the last scene of the show, he basically has become Martha, who he's become what the stalker she was, but now I'm sure he's got somebody new, somebody who was kind to him, so he's now attached himself to that person. That's what I got from it. Brian told me I was stupid and I'm wrong, but that's what I took from it. But I told him, he goes, it was a fantastic show, and I go, I don't want to see that kind of show.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
I'm sure that you can go, oh yeah, this snuff film was just fascinating to watch, but I don't want to see it.
Right. Well, but yeah, that's the thing, is that it really was, and the psychological stuff that he was kind of processing and everything after all that, and the reason that he kept going back and everything. I was like, well, no, they did a really good job with it, but it's like, I don't want to watch something, but I can see why everybody, who watched it loved it and said it was great and it's powerful, and that's great. It's just, it's a series that's probably not for me. And
Yeah,
I make them
and
sit there
right, and that's
really,
exactly it. It's just not something I want to watch.
right.
That's all. That's it. I mean, right there.
But the acting and everything is really good. So if you want to see that, I probably, if you're into that, go watch it. I think you'll love it. But yeah, just not my thing. I also watched Godzilla versus or X Kong. It says X, so okay. And the New Empire. I was sitting at my desk watching it, and with my earphones up really loud, and I was like, the action's right here in front of my face, and I still fell asleep 3 times. It's
Were you tired?
no, it was one of those things where it's like, it's not, I don't want to say it's a bad movie. It's a fine popcorn movie. If you're not paying for it, or you're watching it on streaming or something, and you got your popcorn, you got your soda, and you're watching it, it's fine. Watch it for the action, whatever. But there was 8 minutes of Godzilla and an hour and a half of Kong, and Kong just is not my favorite. And they had like the little Kong that he had to rescue, and then whatever. There was a couple. The people in it actually were more interesting than the creatures in this. And I love Godzilla, but I don't know. I just felt like they had the makings for a good film, but they fucked it up or they missed the mark now. So then I watched Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and they had so much to make this really good. And they had the lead, the small lesbian. Well, I don't know whether she's lesbian or not, but you know what I mean. The daughter, she was great. They had the original people in it, which was really fun to see them. But I just think that the script got away from them or something. And that the big scary woohoo monster just wasn't to me. I don't know. It was just something. My favorite part of it was the fire master guy, who of course we knew from Chippendales show. He was fun. I liked him, but yeah, the rest of it, it fell flat to me. Now you saw it, right?
Yeah,
What did you think? Where
I I enjoyed it. Those are the type of movies that I want to watch a second and a third time. For me personally, because I'm trying to watch the storyline, and then you had all the cameos,
yeah,
and which was fun.
yes.
But it's just I'm trying to I'm just trying to watch the movie first, and
Mm,
not and then I can go pick through, because I used to work movie theaters, and so
right.
seeing a movie multiple times was some we used to always go in and watch the Indiana Jones scene. We had it in two different theaters. It was on a loop, so
Mm,
um theater 4 was about 20 seconds behind theater 3. So the part where the guy's got the whip, and then Indiana Jones pulls out the gun and shoots him, big
yeah.
laugh. We'd run to the next theater, and the guy's got the rope, and then Indiana Jones shoots him, big laugh. So we watch movies like that a lot, but I remember going and seeing Endless Love at the end of the movie. So I like to go back and pick through movies, but it is a lot of movie. I agree. There's a lot of storylines. There's maybe too many, with the romance with the ghost, and but they're trying to be inclusive.
Well, and that was fine.
Yeah,
And I actually thought if they had developed that more, I think they could have done well with that. I don't know. It was just so scattered. And when you can, and maybe I am wrong and that I shouldn't compare it, but when you compare it to the last one, which to me was so good, every time I've watched it, I just cry through the last part of it. I mean, it was so good, but eh, but I can see my mom liking this, because she likes just the throw on some action and let's go. But the one thing about it that I thought was brilliant was all the cameos. I loved seeing every single one of the cameos in it.
yeah. I mean, if they weren't dead, they were in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I finished up Supergirl. All 6 seasons are done and in the can, and there were so many lesbians. They finally had like one gay relationship, well, one gay guy on it, and he had to be a vampire, an alien vampire. Um, but he was a good alien vampire. So, yeah, it was so diverse, so good. They brought back in the final few episodes, actually in the final season, but especially the last few episodes, they brought back so many people from the entire run of the series, and from all the different parts of that DC universe. It was really fun, and even though well, let me finish by saying, and I also love the interplay between Helen Slater and the girl that plays Supergirl, because Helen Slater, who was the original Supergirl in the movies in the 1980s, played Supergirl's mother on this. Um, so yeah, it was great. However, it also, season 6 felt like that, okay, this is going to be our final season. let's just get through this. Let's just take everything and throw it. I mean, there were episodes that like people just disappeared and didn't, their storylines just stopped, and then 5 episodes later they were like a whole different person, then they jumped out of time. it they really like it was not a cohesive season. It just felt like, let's just get this done, get our checks and go home. But it was still, they did have a couple episodes that really stood out. Okay, other than that, we're still working on my poetry book, and that's kind of all I've been up to. All right, let's get into, oh, I guess advice is next. Actually, so I pulled another Am I the Asshole? For background, I am currently a stay-at-home mom doing 100% of child rearing and chores. Household bills are split 80-20 with my husband. I also pay my own personal bills like phone, car, and insurance. While out for dinner with friends, the topic of division of bills and chores came up. Some said they expected a 50-50 split, but one old friend kept bringing up that being a stay-at-home mom wasn't a real job. I explained that, in my opinion, domestic work was still very much work. I care for my child. I care for our child. Make 3 meals a day. Do laundry, cleaning. I do all the mental work of scheduling appointments, shopping, etc. I compared this to the likes of hiring a maid, a cook, and having a personal assistant, which are all jobs. He said, "You just stay at home all day, living off your husband. I would never go to work just so somebody could live at my house rent free." The whole table sort of laughed, and this is where I became enraged. We lived with his friend for a while before. I knew how he lived, so I said, "I can tell you don't value domestic labor, considering your house was disgusting when we moved in and I had to clean it. You had no groceries but a bottle of ketchup in your fridge, no kitchenware, and you ate DoorDash every night in your room because you never bothered to buy any furniture." There was dead silence at the table before I finished with, "You're 35 years old and can't talk to women. I wouldn't worry about anyone living with you anytime soon." I was on the verge of tears, so I walked to my car. My husband told me that what I said was unnecessarily harsh and I should try to apologize. When I got home, I had been removed from our friends group chat. One of my friends texted and that while everything I said was true, I shouldn't have made it I shouldn't have made it personal just because our friend disagreed with my views. Now I think I just lost all my friends, and maybe it wasn't serious enough to bring up his personal stuff. Am I the asshole?
Uh, no.
Yeah.
He made it personal first.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't understand why. Well, you shouldn't have done that to him. But it's like, well, somebody had to read him. Nobody else was going to do it.
Right.
And where was her husband during that?
Yeah.
He's an asshole too. He should have cut in going, "Hey, you don't need to worry about what our arrangement is." And if he went on, then the husband should have put him right back in his place. I mean, I'm not saying that the woman couldn't take care of herself, because she obviously did.
Yeah.
But still, if they got a group of friends there, why did nobody come to her?
Right. I don't think they're very good friends. You're probably fine with losing them. On top of the fact that I have always thought that the stay-at-home mom stuff, I mean, that is a fucking hard-ass job, especially when you're the one that's doing everything.
Everything.
And it literally is everything. And then on top of it, you're still paying 20% of the bills and your own personal bills.
And why is that?
I was like, that's the same thing. I was like, fuck that. He should be paying all of that because you're basically doing life.
Okay, I remember my mother, she was a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
She she had 3 children. My dad would go to work and come home, eat dinner, watch some TV, and go to bed. That was his, but everything was done for him. The laundry was done for him. The food was done for him. The shopping was done for him. And that was kind of the way, that was the way most families were. The
Mhm.
mother stayed home, took care of the kids, and also dealt with taking the car to get serviced,
Mhm.
getting the cars, filled up with gas, um, making appointments for the kids and him, because in those days it wasn't as digitally, it wasn't,
Yeah.
she had to make the call to get the appointment.
Mhm.
She couldn't go on the internet. And she had to pick up the kids when they were sick at school. She had to play doctor. I mean, the live at home spouse, they're okay. Granted, they can take a nap if they want to midday, but other than that, that's if you got your laundry done and you got your
Yeah.
dinner prepped and the kids are still at school. Yeah, fuck him, fuck them
Right.
all.
And not what was it? Oh, what was I gonna say? Um shit.
And
Well,
really just telling him that he doesn't have to worry about anyone ever living with him because he's 35 and he has no furniture and he's a pig. How she didn't mention how big his dick was, so that's not that personal.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is like she's supposed to do all that, take care of the kids, take care of the house, do all the chores, everything else. And then she's supposed to somehow figure out how to pay 50% of the bills plus her own personal bills.
Right. So
Like, when does
so
she have time to make any money?
well, it's no, he's just, first of all, I don't understand that 80-20 split anyway.
Yeah.
But because where does she make money that she can
Right.
get that? But the fact is that this is even being questioned. It just bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, it obviously it works for them, so get off the fucking, get off their backs.
Yeah, it's none of his freaking business. Anyway, okay, so no, you are not the asshole. Moving on. Hey, Chubs. This comes from Timothy. He says, of the 7 deadly sins, which do you do the most?
Okay, what are they again? They're sloth,
Sloth,
which I'm good at that.
gluttony,
What gluttony?
pride.
Okay.
Let me
Pride.
look them up just so that we know.
Um,
Deadly sins. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Okay. They are. What are the list? Okay, pride, greed, lust, anger, gluttony, and envy. That can't be right. What the hell is the matter with you? You're gonna give me a list of 7 sins. They're moving along. The internet, it's like, no, I don't want to watch something called 7 Deadly Sins. I just want a list of what they are.
you want me to look it up?
Well, give me one sec. What are the 7 Deadly Sins? Okay. In order. There we go. Pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth.
So wrath would be anger, I guess.
Mhm.
Which do I do best or most? No, I don't do gluttony. I don't do pride.
Mhm.
I'm a little too greedy. But I would say I'm probably, well, of course I can be very angry and seek revenge, but not so much anymore. So read them again.
Pride,
Right,
greed,
right.
lust, and
Lust. It would probably be lust.
okay. So, all right. For me, it would probably be, well, I don't know, actually, gluttony. I still have my eating issues sometimes, so but maybe pride, because I'm so proud of myself and gay, and yeah, I don't know. That's a tough
Uh,
one.
oh, by the way, Eric Cartman, you know what he eats for breakfast?
Uh,
You don't know. So
no.
it's a bucket of chicken with a box of Captain Crunch and a
Hmm.
box of, I want to say it's the chocolate balls. What was that? Cocoa Puffs.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then put milk over the top of that and eat it with a
Wow.
spoon. Yeah. And when he was taking his fake Ozempic, he goes, "Look, I left 2 chicken thighs in the bottom of the container. It's really working." So,
Or I was surprised there wasn't crispy a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts along with that. Uh,
maybe they don't have one in their town.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
All good. All good. Well, that was a very thought-provoking question, Timothy. Thank you. I'll have to think on that some more. Hey Chubs, did you ever shoplift as a kid and get caught? If so, what happened?
No.
Yeah. I didn't shoplift per se, but when I was a little kid and my father worked at 7-Eleven, and I mean I was like maybe 5 or so, I went down the candy aisle and I'm like, "Hey, there's all this candy. This is lovely." So I opened one of them and ate it right there in the store. And later, the boss had seen me do it and told my father, and I wasn't allowed to go back in that store for quite a while. But yeah, other than that, no, no, I didn't. I never shoplifted. Other than that, and finally, hey Timothy, or hey Chubbs, Timothy asks, do you like to share?
Usually.
That was my answer too. I'm like, well, yeah, I do like to share, and everybody has to get. And then I was like thinking, well, actually, there's some things that no, I don't
Yeah,
want to share my
I've got a
donuts.
few things I don't want to share.
Yeah,
Uh, and it's mostly for greed and gluttony.
yeah, yeah.
It's like when we've got Diet Dr. Peppers and cold Diet Cokes in the refrigerator,
Mhm.
and I find an empty Diet Coke can on his table. Why? Why? He's got his own.
Yeah.
It's and I was that way with barbecue potato chips too. Don't touch my chips. But
Uh,
I've gotten over that one. But that was a bad one for me as a kid. It's like, this is my bag of chips. Because I, like, one time we had when they used to, remember when they used to come in the 2-pack
mhm.
of chips? Okay. Well,
Oh yeah.
we had one pack, and one of my friends, he goes, "Oh, this is how I like my chips," and takes the bag and crunches it up. He goes, "I like to eat the dust."
No. The
And myself and the other person that was there, we're just like staring at him with our mouths open, going, "Well, that's good, because you're going to have a lot, as many as you want now, because I'm not going to eat this shit."
uh-uh.
You he thought that was the funniest thing. I certainly hope he's dead today.
Ah,
um
huh.
um
You know, I'm sorry, but the venge or whatever there, that one,
yeah,
can
that's the
happen.
wrath. It's the
Yeah.
wrath. It still burns in my throat today
Yeah.
that I didn't have a barbecue chip that day.
Um,
He took a whole bag. It wasn't even opened yet, and crushed it.
that would have pissed me off. Yeah. Uh, for me, yeah, there's definitely. I mean, there's times when something's so good that I feel a little resentful having to share little bits of it with the dog. Um, yeah. So I know that's just weird, but yeah. But as a general rule, yes, I like to share. The more the merrier. Happiness.
I let's say I don't like to share, but I don't mind sharing.
There you go. That works.
Yeah.
Okay, getting into what's in your lunchbox. Well, let's see. Mr. Moose wrote in, and let's start with the top two here. One thing I love to get in New York City is a pastrami sandwich. This one uses wagyu. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Wagyu
Okay,
beef.
beef on rye bread and a spicy brown mustard, side of a house-made sauerkraut. Wow. Slaw, excellent salad. That is really a beautiful sandwich, but sauerkraut, I don't know. There.
Well, remember, it's
Different,
I
different
I
taste.
find people that eat sauerkraut. It's not a real California thing, so maybe it's an East Coast thing.
I don't know. I remember having to eat it when I was growing up, and I didn't mind it, but it just isn't something that I'm like, oh, hey, I want some sauerkraut.
Well, and it's weird because I love purple cabbage
Mm,
when it's done, almost basically like sour. I think the sauerkraut is that what I don't like is the it's ultra soury, itsness, that
yeah.
sourness.
Oh, I did have, and of course this was at Wiener Schnitzel, but somebody bought me a kraut dog, and I actually did like it.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh,
But this does look good, and that plate, I know it's not his plate, but what a gorgeous plate. Look at that.
yeah, it really is.
And
Even
I'll
the
tell you
pick.
what,
Oh, go ahead.
when you're in New York and you're eating at a lot of the because you're eating pizza at this place, you're
Mhm.
getting a bagel, something over here, and then all of a sudden you get a salad, you eat it. You eat it because it's something fresh, because mostly you're eating meat and bread.
Yeah.
And this is all of a sudden something fresh in your mouth, and it just is so nice. And yeah, so that's the first thing I noticed was the salad.
Mm.
Yeah.
Even the pickle was outstanding. They are made in Brooklyn and they are fresh. Ordered a side of fries also, and the fries look really, really good too.
Okay, that's why you got them. I was wondering where the fries were from,
Yeah.
because they were in the first position. But yeah, and Wagyu is it's a certain kind of beef famous in Japan. And what happens is it's got such marbling in the beef that it's so flavorful and so tender. Yeah, and
I
expensive.
I know that on the cooking shows that they always, talk about that being like so good. And okay, so ordered matzo ball soup, and the restaurant brought a bowl that must have been a quart, but it's delicious. Hmm. I haven't had matzo ball soup in a very long time.
Hey, if you've got a really good chicken stock,
Mm,
or your broth, whatever they want to call it, if that's, I mean, usually that's where it is. And then you just, hack off pieces of the it's almost like having like a croutons, but a big crouton that you break down. But yeah, it's all about the aroma of the soup and just how wonderful that is. That's why I use the pressure cooker. You always can get a lot of flavor out of it.
oh, I haven't thought about that. I wonder if the magic pot that
Instapot,
yeah, that Mr. Ramble sent me. I wonder if that would.
that's what I'm using.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Southern fried buttermilk hot chicken sandwich with a spicy aioli. Delicious. Oh gosh, that looks
God, it
delicious.
looks so. I love his angle. Look at all those fries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no wonder people are liking this. They're loving this chicken sandwich. I guarantee it.
Okay, travel day from hell. Flight to NYC delayed due to weather. Delayed 4 hours, which put us into traveling from JFK to Manhattan in rush hour. Got to the hotel just in time for a glass of wine, then ran into a hole in the wall place for chicken parm and pasta. Was actually good. We hadn't eaten all day, just enough time to the theater. So that is a very, very beautiful chicken parm and pasta. Mr. Lurie Dean made some eggplant parm early last week that I forgot to take a picture of, and it was good. And yeah, just
Well,
perfect.
eggplant just hasn't gotten enough love. It really
Yeah.
is good. It's got a really interesting flavor, and it fries up really nicely. Because I don't, I'm not much of a well, because of the cheese,
Mhm.
but the parm chicken parm fan. But I do like, or eggplant parm. I do like just to take the eggplant and then give it an egg bath, put it in some breadcrumbs, and just fry it up in discs, and it's so yummy.
And that's
Yeah,
that's pretty much what he did. Of course, then the parm on top of it, but
right,
it
right.
still had enough crisp around the edges that it was just
Yeah.
wonderful. After the theater, fish and chips, fried cod with a touch of malt vinegar, seasoned fries. That looks wonderful too.
No,
Uh,
I want fish and chips now. Damn it.
that crisp outside, just with that, you just bite into it.
But as you notice, it's just more meat and
Uh-huh.
there's for some reason I don't know why, but it just didn't seem like there was much vegetation. Maybe it's just the city itself. But when you're in New York, it's like you go into a pizza place, and so you're going to get something that's cheesy and fatty and doughy, and then you go like the fish and chips. You go into a bagel shop. You go into I mean, you can find it, but the ones that you're going to a deli, it's just not. It's not a thing unless you really are searching for like a salad.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, everything. But you're in New York. You want to eat like a New Yorker, and so it's you get a slice on the go. That type of thing.
Yeah. You have Chicago pizza at New York, right?
Oh no,
I
no.
know that's
Well, you can't walk with Chicago pizza.
true. Well,
It's too thick and gooey.
I like it.
Although I made Chicago almost a deep dish pizza. I got my dough out and I let it rise, and it raised really high, and so I kind of tried to punch it down, and then it rose again, and it got so anyway, it was huge. It was really thick crust, and usually I try to get it as thin as I possibly can.
Hmm.
And then I had the stuff I had. I put too much cheese on. That was more accidental. I didn't think it was going to create what it did. And then it was bacon. And what else did I put on it? Oh, bits of steak. I cut up a leftover steak, and so it was cheese and steak and bacon on top of this huge pizza crust. But it was good. It was good.
You should have taken a picture of that. That
I
sounds
know.
great.
I should just carry my phone with me all the time, but I don't.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
it's a
And
problem.
finally, we have ham and cheese croissant for breakfast. Looks a little flat, but tastes good.
Nothing's better than a ham and cheese croissant. I mean, croissant wise, that's my
Mhm.
favorite right there.
And when they
Especially, it's the cheese gets all crusty where it has leaked out
Mhm.
leaked onto the grill, and it gets that crunchy, cheesy, gooey, yummy. Oh my god.
And when the croissant is just that
Oh.
perfect freshness, but just a hint of crunch.
Well, yeah, because you've heated it, so it's going to be a little
Yeah.
crispier. It'll really bring out all the butters in
Yes.
the dough. So, yeah, that looks fantastic. And another beautiful dish. It must be the same place. Oh, maybe that was Carnegie Deli, Carnegie Diner that they went to. I know they went to the Carnegie Diner because we went to the Carnegie Diner, right? Because it was just up the street from us, and they were, I guess, pretty close to where we were as well. So, yeah. Oh yeah, that makes sense because I got that salad too. Now let me get that salad again. Yeah, I got I think I got a chicken burger there, a chicken sandwich there, and and when the salad came, we were devouring it. It was so
Mhm.
funny. Anyway, so yeah, well, it looked like Moose had a great trip, and
Yeah.
I know he saw Water for Elephants, but I don't know what else he had mentioned a few other titles, but he didn't update daily,
Mm.
because usually him and the hubby are they take a shot of them in the
Yeah.
theater.
Well, I know they
Um,
have a little kerfuffle getting home too.
right. But the mother play, I think the night they were supposed to see it, there was an illness in the cast, so they couldn't I think that's what he meant when he posted that was the show they were supposed to see, which was funny because we were supposed to see Water for Elephants Thursday night, our last night that we were there. But what happened was we didn't know that was their opening night, their actual opening night.
Mm.
So it had sold out, and they had like, bigger people showing up, famous people showing
Yeah.
up for the premiere. So we didn't get to see it. And so I was kind of bummed about that, but I'm glad Moose saw it. And it's funny because he said that it's the circus stuff in the show is really cool because there's a lot of acrobatics and stuff like that. but the music, everything I've heard music-wise has been not memorable, and he said it was the same for him.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, the Outsiders was the most memorable score for me personally, even though it wasn't very Broadway kind of musical, but that's what the one that stuck with me. So I'm just glad. I'm glad it looked like for the most part, they had a really good time, and it was nice seeing the hubby smile.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Golden Rule Services want you to know about an important tool in preventing you from contracting HIV. PrEP is a medication proven to be 99% effective in preventing HIV infection. To learn more about PrEP, visit sacgrs.org and find Tom's other podcast at swannerandjudd.com. Find my books at justkisstheguy.com. Find all of our links at allmylinks.com/chubsgonewild and give us a call at
408-69 Chubs.
Yes. And that brings us to the close of the Memorial Day show. We hope that you are having a wonderful week. And please feel free to send us what's in your lunchbox, any Hey Chubs questions, advice questions, comments, anything like that. Send it to chubsgonewild@gmail.com. And we will catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.